When we talk about tackling climate change, you probably picture these giant solar farms, right? Or maybe massive reforestation projects. But what if one of the most powerful solutions came in a package so small you can't even see it? Well, that's the wild idea behind a new technology called the GeneCapsule.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if we could deliver a targeted biological treatment right to the places that need it the most? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, I know, but this is a concept that scientists are actively working to bring into the real world. Look, we all know the situation. There's way too much CO2 in the atmosphere, and it's putting a huge strain on everything, our farms, our oceans, you name it. The scale of this problem is so immense that our old toolkits just aren't going to cut it anymore. We have to think differently.
And that's exactly where this idea comes in. The GeneCapsule isn't just another tool, it's a whole new category of tool. It's about approaching the problem from a completely different and, frankly, pretty revolutionary angle.
So what is this thing really? Okay, at its heart, a GeneCapsule is basically a tiny, biodegradable container. But inside, that's where the magic is. It holds custom-designed microorganisms. Think of them as tiny living machines that have been programmed to do one specific job, like literally pulling carbon right out of the air.
And you can see right away how different this is from what we're used to. Instead of building massive structures that take forever, we're talking about deploying these tiny biological agents that can get to work almost immediately, and with incredible precision.
This is the perfect way to think about it. You know how a probiotic introduces good bacteria into your system to improve your health? Well, the GeneCapsule does the same thing, but for an ecosystem. It introduces beneficial microbes to help bring things back into balance. It's a really simple way to grasp a very complex idea.
So, how does this all work in practice? Let's follow the journey of a GeneCapsule all the way from the lab bench to the field.
It really boils down to 3 key steps. First, in the lab, scientists tweak the DNA of a microbe, could be bacteria, could be algae, to make it a superstar at a specific task, like gobbling up CO2. Second, they pack these supermicrobes into a tiny protective shell. And finally, these capsules get deployed, just waiting for the right signal from the environment to pop open and get to work. Let's kind of crack one open and see the parts. First, you've got the engineered microbe itself. That's your worker bee, the one doing all the heavy lifting. Then there's the shell, which is super important. It keeps the microbe safe until it gets where it needs to go, and then it just harmlessly breaks down. And maybe the cleverest part is the trigger. It's like a smart switch that tells the capsule to open only when conditions are perfect, maybe a certain temperature or pH level, ensuring the microbes are released at the exact right time and place. Now, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But what's the actual, real-world potential? What kind of impact could we be talking about here? Well, the numbers being talked about are kind of mind-blowing. 1 gigaton. Let that sink in. The researchers behind this believe this technology could potentially capture 1 billion tons of CO2 from the atmosphere every single year. That is a massive number, a truly significant dent in our global emissions problem. And just to put that number into perspective, let's stack it up against some other solutions we rely on. When you see that 1 gigaton potential from GeneCapsules next to, say, a huge reforestation project or an industrial direct air capture plant, yeah, you can see why people are so excited about adding this to our climate-fighting arsenal.
But here's where it gets even cooler. This isn't just a one-trick pony for carbon. Remember, those worker bee microbes can be programmed to do all sorts of things. Imagine capsules designed to combat ocean acidification, or others that neutralize toxic chemicals in the soil, or even ones that help crops survive a drought. The list of potential applications is just huge.
So let's zoom out. What does all this mean for the future of how we take care of our planet? If a technology like this really takes off, it could fundamentally change the way we think about everything. We could be moving from an era of solving problems with just concrete and steel to an era that includes biological engineering. It's a shift toward working with the powerful systems of nature, but giving them a little high-tech boost to fix the problems that we created in the first place. And of course, that brings us to the final and most important question. This is an incredibly powerful tool, and with that kind of power comes an enormous responsibility. As we get better at editing and deploying life itself to reshape our environment, we have to be so careful and think about the ethical rules and the unintended consequences. It's a conversation that we absolutely have to start having right now.